Now, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Um, at this point, man, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like eating my popcorn. I got the pay-per-view. I'm waiting for the A.WARD battle. I
Yeah.
feel like the world is waiting to see what you do, what's
Shout out to
going
Verb.
on.
Shout out to
You know what I'm
Verb.
saying? You versus Frak.
Yeah.
Dope battle. Really enjoyed it. One of the best battles of the weekend and everything like that. After the battle, I'm seeing a lot of reactions of people trying to make it seem like you just died or 3-0. I seen Polo and Cola, they rapping their head and they doing all this stuff. And
Yeah.
even some of the polls, and they're not as bad as, I'm thinking of, like I did a poll on Hip Hop Is Real, 5K votes. And I'm sure not everybody watched the battle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people just
Yeah.
making votes. But it's a 61-39 in
That's
Frak's
not bad.
favor.
Yeah,
And
that's
things
not bad.
like that. How do you feel about this battle yourself, and how do you also feel about the reaction after the battle?
Yo, I knew the reaction was going to be that. After the Big K battle, like where people had me, clearly losing in the building or whatever, and I jumped online, you start to see all of the battlers, you know what I mean, who have never, who just come out the woodwork and they just like, war getting smoked 30, just going crazy. And it really just cuts the grass, bro. It just allows you to see who is like chomping at the bit and just waiting on you to lose. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, shout out to Verb. Like, I seen John, I see Bill Collector, I see Cortez, I see guys out here on Twitter going crazy tweeting Frak, right? And Frak is incredible. I've been tweeting Frak forever, But when Frak battled the Source, people wasn't staying up to tweet, oh, Frak is insane. He's got these angles. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes wasn't paying no attention to that. They paying attention to it because at this point they want to see A.WARD lose. You know what I mean? They want to have a reason to tweet about that. You know what I mean? And it's cool. We can see that. There's people that A.WARD had his spaces up. They would have never stayed up for a Frak battle. And that's actually sad because I'm a co-signer of Frak. He's incredible. But they were staying up because they want to see A.WARD's reaction to watch an A.WARD battle. You know what I mean? And so with him creating that type of environment, he's got a lot of people that are staying up that want to see A.WARD lose so that they can hear A.WARD go crazy for the next couple of weeks on A.WARD losing. You know what I mean? So they're looking at it through a lens of of what he's created. The battle was a great battle. The battle was he was incredible. I thought I did incredible as well. There's a couple things in the battle that I wish I would have done a little bit differently. But for the most part, it was a great battle. Like when we got off the stage, he comes up to me. He's like, "Ward, we just had a classic." He's like, "Bro, we just had a classic. That's a debatable battle." I looked at Frak and said, "Frak, I think they got you edging the battle." He was like, "No, are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm going off a little bit of crowd reaction and different things like that." And I was like, "Yeah, I think they're gonna have you edging the battle." He's like, "What rounds?" And I'm like, "Well, I think I got the second, you got the third, but I think they're gonna have you edging the first." He's like, "Oh, dang." He's like, "I thought it was classic debatable." So like he come up to me like that, And then I go upstairs and Roan's like, "Ward, I had you in the first, but I had the second close and I had him with the third." So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, guys that write battle rap, do different things, like your peers, a lot of people in the building had, was like, "Yo, Ward, that's a close battle, boom." But then when you go online and you're in a culture or community where somebody is literally just driving the bus of like, "Hey, Ward, ain't that good?" You're going to get that response on Twitter.
Now, going into the battle, knowing, some of these things, with the Verb conversation and Verb kind of picking at you and things like that, was that in the back of your mind going into this battle at all? Or were you just like super, just like, I'm not even going to pay this no mind. I just got to focus on Frak.
Yeah, I mean, like, I pay attention to like, I'm on Twitter every day, so you can't just like not see it, you know what I mean? But it didn't affect my like prep. It didn't affect my, like I'm not sitting here writing a whole bunch of stuff of Verb and saying forget Frak, I'm gonna write his material, 3 or 4 days before. That's not happening, Like I got the utmost respect for Frak, and Frak is like what Frak did, no offense, like there's not a lot of battle rappers that can do. He that's the Ilmac style. That's that whole like very good at rapping, rhyming, angling, and breaking down everything you ever did or said in battle rap. You know what I mean? For 3 rounds, and that's a very tough style to battle if you're not willing to do the exact same thing and try to break him down in a way. And I did mine in the second round, and it was an effective round. And then in the first and third, I kind of stuck to what I do. So,
one thing I kind of feel like Frak might have did that, you usually always do better than a lot of artists. His freestyle and his rebuttal game was kind of crazy, A.WARD. As far as in the building and the way it was able to land, how did you feel about his, you know what I'm saying, creativity and being able to like hit? Because some of yours was good, but it kind of didn't, it fell a little flat.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so what happened was, you know, one, and I told somebody this a couple times before, and I was like, yo, if you ever want A.WARD to not have good rebuttals or not freestyle, you know what I mean? Make it hot as hell in the building. Like, bro, like any venue I ever been in where I've been like tired on my feet, hot, waiting to rap, like my mind is not, I'm not sharp on it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not there. So like I smashed like 2 Red Bulls because I've been there since like 3:30. We didn't battle till like almost, you know, 9:30, 10, something like that. I smashed 2 Red Bulls. I get up there. Once I realized how long his rounds were, because we talked on the phone and we said, he told me on the phone how long his rounds were. And I told him, okay, cool. I'll write a little bit more because they were a little bit longer than mine.
Okay.
And then in the ring, his rounds were a little bit longer than what he had told me on the phone.
It's a real battle. Like, damn, this ain't the 90 seconds we agreed to, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, we agreed to 90, but then we agreed to 2 minutes. Me and him on the side agreed to 2 minutes, you know? And I'm like, yo, I'm not going to cut nobody off. Like, you know, if you got to go 2:15 or whatever. But no, so when I started to realize like how long his rounds were, I was like, now I had to force myself to freestyle to make my rounds seem longer, because if not, you know, he going to have a minute and a half more material than me every round, you know? So that's why you saw me actually like forcing freestyles, like freestyling slow, you know, kind of doing different things like, you know, just the conversational freestyles and stuff, because I was trying to lengthen out my rounds, because my rounds were all around 2 minutes. You know, like, you know, maybe the longest one was about 2:20, like, but for the most part, it was all like 155, 210, and 2:20. But I feel like his rounds, like, you know, and I think Battle Rap Stats did a graph or whatever, you know, and on their graph, he rapped like 2 minutes, 2 or 2.5 minutes more material than me. So, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm a competitor. I'm not up there, you know, stopping people on their time or whatever. I knew what it was, but I also knew the slate of battles I got coming up, and I wasn't going to be able to write, you know, 3-minute rounds for this battle. So
now, does this the narrative of Frak beating you or whatever, or people going with this, does it put more pressure on you going into this verb battle?